if you give them something immediately on your website, they're gonna like. If you give them something immediately with your product experience when they actually try it, you're gonna like, or in an ad that they're gonna like, they will stay for another.
Ladles and jelly spoons, boys, girls, germs, whatever you want to call yourselves, we are here in the 10K Collector Mastermind for 6, 7, and 8-figure Amazon sellers. Now, Amazon sellers, what does that mean? I guess it means e-commerce sellers who focus mostly on Amazon. So that's an interesting distinction. Today, we are with Jake Rosenberg, founder and CEO of Crete. Crete is a 30-second skincare company, formerly skincare company focused on men, by which hangs a tale, I think. So there's lots to discuss. Jake's also been running his brand on Shopify, recently launched on Amazon. So many, many things about brand and product and sales channels and lots of good things to discuss. First of all, Jake, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So nice to speak to somebody who's primarily focused on being a brand owner. I guess in about 10 minutes, you'll either create a course or become an agency or a consultant or both. But I think we caught you in that moment where, unlike me, you're still
I'm gonna
pure.
make a course about how to make courses like everyone else I see on.
Yeah, right. That's the other classic. Yes, I've been consuming those myself recently. So let's talk about this. There's so many things to talk about here. Let's talk first of all about your 30-second skincare company. Give us a sort of quick pitch about your original concept, and then we're already getting into the fact that you're tweaking that based on your market's response. So tell
Yeah.
us about that.
So the short founder story, and I'll keep it at 30 seconds, is that I had a ski accident in 2017. I was left with a big scar on my nose, and you can't exactly hide something on your nose. It's not, there's no hair to cover it, there's no clothing to cover it. It's right there. So I was forced to learn about skincare. Before that, I was just like a regular dude who took a shower and washed his face with a bar of soap. If I needed a moisturizer because my skin happened to be dry, I'd go to CVS and get something. I use whatever shampoo, like, probably smelled the nicest. Like, it doesn't really matter. It didn't really matter to me. When you have a scar, you start having to learn a lot about skincare. And so I understood that there were kind of two worlds. One was the medical world of like procedures and all this craziness. That wasn't for me. And the other was the world that was built for women, which is Ulta, Sephora, and that whole section, which again was not for me. I just wanted a couple of products that would make my scar go away, make dry skin go away, and maybe hide a pimple if I had it. And you walk into a store like Sephora and you say, okay, I know that those three products are in here, but they have 10,000 products and there's no way I'm ever going to find it. And so I started Crete so that basically guys just wouldn't have that problem. And as you mentioned, we're kind of shifting because women have been buying our products because they don't like, not necessarily all women like that Sephora experience. And so what we ended up doing is by building it towards a more male sentiment of like, you don't know what skincare really does. You don't want to be stuck in the bathroom for more than 30 seconds and use one product. You don't want a million things in a routine. We ended up actually appealing to like a broader audience of men and women. And so we kind of went from a male focused brand to a slightly more unisex brand that markets, we still market primarily to men, but we don't think that skincare is masculine or feminine. It's like having nice skin is just, why wouldn't you wanna have nice skin?
Interesting. There's so many thought-provoking things right off the bat to talk about here. So one of the classic, almost a cliche, and the Americans sort of butcher the word niche, which I think is a French word, but they say the riches are in the niches, which always makes me wince because of the French. But
Reaches are in the niches.
yeah,
Yeah.
riches are in the niches sounds wrong as well. So it doesn't work if you say it properly. But anyway, so that's kind of a cliche, a truism, whatever it is. So that implies to me that, if you focus on men and skincare and fast skincare, that's going to be more focused as a brand than a unisex, which sounds almost, if you're taking that very narrow view, like, oh, it's not, it's for everybody. And if it's for everybody, it's for nobody. So you must have thought long and hard about this because
Yeah.
it's not a casual decision. So why did you come to the conclusion that you were going to broad your target avatar in that way?
I would say that we're not marketing to everybody. We're marketing to people with a specific set of values or a specific set of, behaviors or how they'd like their life to go. We're marketing to people who want efficiency. Marketing to people who don't want to be stuck in the bathroom. For my girlfriend, she buys whatever on TikTok. It's like an experience. She buys it. She's in the bathroom for 30 minutes trying 10 products in a row. She likes it. That's a thing she enjoys doing. It's like her sport. For me, that sounds terrible. I don't want to be doing that. I'd rather be working more. I'd rather watch a great show. I'd rather hang out with friends. So for me, I don't enjoy that. For many women, they don't enjoy that. Some men actively enjoy that. So it's not that we're for everyone. It's just when we started marketing to guys who wanted to learn what a product does in 30 seconds or less, and then apply it and have it work in 30 seconds or less. It turns out that that's just that message and that type of company and that type of brand promise is not just for men. Many women actively want that too. Not all women, not even necessarily most women, just some women. So we figured that by putting skincare for men, that wasn't really accurate. It was basic. It's more like skincare for people who want great skin with none of the BS.
Yeah, and I like your brand name, and underneath it, you on your website. I'm just having a quick look here. Always interested in this sort of brand promise, particularly when you're off Amazon, where you get a bit more chance to articulate the brand promise as a whole, as opposed to product by product, right? 30-second
Yeah.
skincare. It's quick and it's a straightforward brand promise. Like it's quick. You're straight to the point. And so, yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, it makes me think also, I've been rereading The Star Principle by Richard Koch, which is just marketing genius. I mean, it's pretty simple idea to start with the Boston Consulting Growth Matrix, which I won't dive into here unless you really want to get into that, but just a brilliant book. But one of the things he was saying, if you're trying to think about how to find a valuable niche, is sort of men and women. And then he talked about masculine and feminine. So what does that mean? I guess, in these days, that's rather a dangerous traditional sort of ground, but you can think of anima and animus if you want to get all Freud or Jungian about it.
Yeah.
Those male type energy cuts to the chase. My wife is like that. She goes for a pee, to be frank. She's quicker than most men, which I don't know how that even works. But she
It
likes to
just
cut to the
some
chase.
women
So,
do. It's probably
yeah,
it's less, it's statistically less, but it's not none. So
yeah,
let's say we appeal to 80% of men and 20% of women.
yeah,
That makes more sense to us than trying to appeal to 100% of men and no women, because 100% of men, the variance is large.
yes,
I
yeah.
mean,
Whereas
maybe
people want 30
concentrated in a
seconds.
bell curve in the middle of a behavior.
Yeah,
And so maybe we're going for this end and this end of the bell curve of women and not
yeah.
the middle. But really, we're not going for this end and this end of men. We're going for the middle. Like maybe that's the behavioral, because everything comes down to the customer experience. And so the niche, whatever anyone wants, that we're going after is people who want a very specific customer experience, or to use a very California word, of a very specific vibe.
Yeah.
It is all about that. As you come to our website, there's not a lot of words, there's not a lot of reading. There's some nice pictures, there's a couple cool animations. You go, oh, what does this do? 30-second skincare. Okay, well, why 30-second skincare? Why not super easy skincare? Why not 1 minute skincare? Why not 10-second skincare? There's a reason. First of all, we focused on time because, to me, when you're trying to tell someone something's easy, it still might take them a while. And what do we have that's a precious resource is time, right? So if I tell you something takes 30 seconds, even if it hurts, it's only 30 seconds. So I thought that of the kind of constraints that we could use as a marketing tool and as messaging, the time element was the most important. Now, 1 minute skincare, that sounds good, not as catchy. Minutes longer than 30 seconds. 10-second skincare doesn't even feel like you're going to do anything. Nothing works in 10 seconds. Even though you can apply some of our products in 10 seconds, 30 seconds was just the sweet spot. And all of this kind of folds into I made that when I first started the company. And then maybe 2 years later, I read a book called $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozy, and it contextualized why our tagline worked. I knew it worked, but I didn't really know the broader framework of why it worked. And essentially, the value proposition that you give to customers, people can promise anything aspirational. You're going to look the best. You're going to meet the girl of your dreams because your skin is cleared up. Your boss is going to go, wow, you don't look tired, and give you whatever crazy thing you can figure out. Anyone can figure out a promise, hire some actors or influencers, and do that. But the thing is, how do people know you're actually going to deliver on that promise, and how much work, time, effort, money, et cetera, is it going to take to get there? And that's the denominator. You're going to look great. You're going to feel great. You're going to get the girl, whatever it is. And it only takes 30 seconds. Okay, that is the actual equation. Most people don't focus on that. They don't tell you, they give you free shipping, maybe easy returns. They reduce some frictions in some ways, but they don't tell you that like the actual experience with the product is going to be so simple. Again, if it takes 30 seconds, it can't be rocket science.
Brilliant. And by the way, you're transitioning beautifully into what we've got on the docket, as it were, that we're going to talk about is product development, which is obviously critical. But we're starting with the brand and the customer avatar straight away, just based on what you were saying just before we went live. And I guess the link between the products and the avatar is the offer, right? Which is a
Mhm.
separate thing. And by the way, Alex Hormozy, $100 Million Offers, amazing book. Definitely recommend it to anyone. It's free, by the way, which is kind of crazy, at least in the digital version.
Yeah.
And if I remember, so I think what you're referring to is the value proposition, the value equation, right? I'm trying to remember how
Yeah.
it works now. So it's basically,
I don't remember the exact
no, I remember
wording
the
he
exact
used, but
thing.
it was
So,
basically like value, like aspirational outcome. Like, what are you actually promising them? Divided by how easy is it going to get there? Wow, you're gonna lose 100 pounds in like no time. Okay, great, but
yeah,
it's gonna cost you $1 million. Okay, that's not great. This is gonna cost you 30 something dollars and take 30 seconds to use for a cup for a week. Wait, my
yeah,
skin's gonna look better, and if my skin looks better, we need to contextualize that in the actual, status that you have relative to whatever you want in your life. Your neighbor, one of my favorite commercials ever was talking, it was a grass advertisement talking about how make your neighbors jealous of your lawn. What a way
yeah,
to sell grass is like you're not selling the fertilizer or whatever the specific product is. You're beating your neighbors in a competition. They're gonna be jealous. It's
yeah,
those kind of things are how you wanna have the aspirational outcome. But then there's, I think, 1 or 2 other parts of the equation, which is how do people know that you're actually going to deliver that aspirational outcome? And that is, it's not necessarily impossible. It's reviews, it's videos of people using your product and having it work. I mean, if it's a shirt, show the shirt on someone looking good. That's not necessarily, yeah, none of this is again rocket science. It's just you have to kind of do these systematically.
yeah,
And then one of the points he made, which I now call fast wins, is it's one of the secret weapons of our company, which is every product we design, yes, is going to get into product development, has to give you the positive experience, like literally the first second or minute that you use it, the first time you use it. So one of the issues of, going to the gym or gym subscriptions is that everyone's excited on January 1st. They go sign up, they go to the gym, they give it 2 days, 3 days, maybe 5 days, maybe a week. You don't really see results in that time. You have to It's about commitment. There's no fast win. Most people by mid-January or whatever the statistic is have quit. Okay. Well, how do we not have that happen? Because sometimes you have to use skincare for a month before your specific skin issue will reduce dramatically enough. If it's redness, fine lines, wrinkles, something that's more like structural, to soften fine lines, it might be 2 months. So, how do we get people to use it consistently? We develop our products so that they work the first time you use them, but that they have some sort of sensation or feeling so that you know it works. Our hydrating facial serum has this tightening sensation. You feel it on your skin the first time you use it. And so we get a lot of customer feedback that's reviews like, wow, I put it on, my skin feels tighter and smoother the first time. Well, that lets you know it's working. You're going to use it every day for a month, and then you're going to see the real benefits, and then you're a customer for life.
yeah.
But
Brilliant. I like that.
yeah,
I was
so
gonna
that's
say this is almost like
maybe
my old, sorry to interrupt, just a couple of
no,
thoughts. My podcasting co-host, by the way, massive Shopify fan, Jason Miles says, put the pill in the meat. And as a teacher that I've been in the past, music teaching, like a lot of the time, that psychology is critical, isn't it? You have to give somebody something that is an immediate win. And actually, that's not really the important thing. That's not really the responsible thing. But if you don't give them that, then they won't use it enough to get the real win, right? And that's, if you would like resources and links and other help to do with today's episode, just go to amazingfba.com/44gibber.
I
Yeah,
mean,
so smart.
I knew this was true because of an experience I had in college. I used to do DJing and like mashing up and mixing in music production. And I just remember like the first week of college, I got Ableton, I don't know, it was like Ableton 6 or 7 or something like that. And I accidentally put 2 songs together, like, just as a coincidence and hit play, and they mashed up perfectly. And because I was like, "Oh, I did that. That sounded really good." I then struggled for the next 2 weeks to learn every bit of that platform so I could recreate something like that. I, by some miracle, got that, and that shaped, my like, a music career for me for years and a love of music and mixing and production because I accidentally put 2 things together, in this insanely complicated program and hit play, and it happened to work, like, perfectly. So, again, like, sometimes you just need a win up front, and it can make you see or feel or believe in the product or the process, and that's really good for stuff that takes a while to potentially give results. The gym, some parts of skincare. Now, if you've dry skin, you put Crete on, it's going to work immediately. The dry skin's probably even going to disappear immediately. So, with concealer that we're launching in like a month, that's easy. You have a dark spot, you cover it up, it's gone. That's a fast win. But, some products that we're launching in the future, it's a little harder because we have to incorporate the fast win into the actual chemistry of the product functionality. So there may be ingredients we use or don't use and things like that.
Yeah, really, really interesting. It strikes me that you think very, very hard about the exact consumer experience, or kind of engineering experience, and you
Yeah.
understand the psychological importance of that. That's so interesting. By the way, just to reiterate, because I think it is, you and I obviously massive fans of the $100 million offer book by Alex Hormozy. And by the way, just to reiterate, he's talking about offers. He's talking about not talking about marketing, not even talking about custom avatar, although it's obviously related. Not even talking about products, although if you promise something you can't deliver on, you're being big trouble.
Yeah.
But this value equation is just fantastic. So just to read that out. So it's the dream outcome times the perceived likelihood of achievement divided by the time delay times the effort and sacrifice needed. So to your point, for example, in the gym, effort and sacrifice very big, time delay, maybe weeks, maybe even months. So therefore, that kind of, which is it, numerator, denominator, is the other one, the one at the bottom is quite
Numerator
a
and
big number. Yeah, that's what, thank you.
exactly.
The one at the bottom is very big. So that's why you only pay whatever, 30, 40, 50 pounds or dollars for a gym subscription. Whereas your dream outcome time perceived likelihood of achievement, if you believe that your skin's going to look beautiful and you really know that you can trust this company and you put it on, it takes 30 seconds and it's just like you've opened it in, gloop, gloop, done, then
Yeah.
your time delay is incredibly short, effort and sacrifice very low, outcome very high. If you trust that it's going to happen, value
Yeah.
is very high, which explains why Crete's taken off so well, right? I think that's just a
Exactly.
brilliant example.
So
And
it's funny because all of those things make sense. And thankfully we were doing all of them, but it wasn't until I read that book, which is pretty recently, like a year or two ago, that I was just like, oh, that's why all of those things work
Mhm.
together. And it really helped me. The fast wins part, that's, that I don't think that's his phrase. I think that's mine. My version of, I mean, the concept came from stuff he said, whereas like, if it takes you 2 weeks to experience a win, you know, it's a lot harder than if it takes 10 seconds. That has changed our company's philosophy on everything we do. Every ad now, we have to give you a fast win within 3 seconds. We have to do something entertaining in the first 3 seconds of our ads. Our website has to have a cool animation within the first scroll, or something that delivers value, everything, because that's all. People don't have attention. If they came to our website and we don't say, "Hey, here's something you're gonna like," immediately, they're just gonna be like, "This is another website. I'm bored. I'm out." So if you give them something immediately on your website they're gonna like, if you give them something immediately with your product experience when they actually try it, you're gonna like, or in an ad that they're gonna like, they will stay for another 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, where you have time to deliver more value to move them further down the funnel. But yeah, just we're in an age of attention. And if you don't capture it and sustain it at every level of your funnel, including the product, because again, I view the product as marketing. If you like our product, we don't have to really send you email. I mean, we do, but we don't have to send you emails. We don't have to run ads to you. If you love our product, you want to order it. When you run out of toothpaste, you order more toothpaste. You don't need an ad for more toothpaste.
yeah, fantastic. So yeah, values applies to every part of ads, every part of the funnel. I mean, I hadn't really thought of engineering an ad in that way. I have the misfortune to be the son and the grandson of teachers and the son of a lawyer. So I guess that I just have to escape from trying to do things correctly into serving people's needs and just like really, really embrace the whole wants thing. I don't think I'm alone in that. This is why I mention it.
It's
But let's get into the product thing. So you're
yeah,
mentioning that product is part of your marketing funnel as well, which is a great way of thinking about it. But I guess another way of putting it is that Amazon, like Google before, is great at serving its customers. And the better it gets at matching people to great products, which are going to delight them, right? So if your product doesn't do
yeah.
that, I guess it's failed. And a lot of people, I don't think, still don't take product development seriously enough. Hey, folks, thank you for listening to the 10K Collective podcast, part of the amazing FBA family of podcasts. And today's guest, Jake Rosenberg of Crete.club, the 30-second skincare company. Few reflections here that may be really useful to you. I think, first of all, finding a niche or a brand, starting with your own needs is the simplest way. Now, you may or may not have that, But finding a strong need, which you really don't feel is met in the marketplace, is the most important starting point, in my opinion. Whether it's your story or that of somebody close to you or somebody you can identify through more professional and harder, marketing abilities. First thing. Second thing to note is how the origin story of the brand, even for you and for me listening, has a power about it. So do not hide any origin stories of your brand. If you've got a brand, I've had clients that have inherited brands for multi-generational companies, they often don't mention that in their marketing, which I think is insane. It's an incredibly strong thing to have as a brand to engage people emotionally, to get trust, to get interest of any kind. So that's the other thing to think about. The other thing is finding an underserved market, so men, rather broad demographic. But it turns out also, from what we were discussing, should it actually be women who are specifically the type of people who don't want to spend long in the bathroom on their skincare regime. The other things that struck me are getting a fast win and even combining that with a really strong brand promise. You got 30 seconds as a credible but quick result, for example, built into the marketing of the very brand, not just each individual product or Crete, which I think is really, really smart. And I love the $100 million offers by Alex Hormozi. I'd urge you to read that if you get a chance, which is not quite the same as an offer, is not the same as a product, and it's not quite the same as marketing either. I think an offer done well, exactly as Jake's done, is that you engineer the promise into the product. So they've got something in the skin, which, the skin cream, I should say, which you can feel working within the first 30 seconds, even though, as he acknowledges, for some types of products, there is also a longer term action over a month or 2 months. So getting that quick win and being able to advertise that quick win and giving that experience of that as well, so you deliver on your promise, is super smart. And I think that's an accelerated version, if you like, of the implications of the value equation by Alex Hormozi, but in a way that I haven't heard quite as sharply defined as that. I think that's super smart. So if you want to check out more about Jake, of course, you can check out the quality of his direct-to-consumer site, which is his main sales channel up to this point, just launched on Amazon, which I'm sure we'll discuss in future. But for the moment, his direct-to-consumer site, Crete.club, that's Krete.club, it's not .com. If you're based in the US or Canada, you can order product from there. Sadly, if you're elsewhere, you can't. But you can at least appreciate the work that's gone into creating the brand, the promise, and indeed the design as well. And then if you want to get some mentoring or consulting for direct-to-consumer businesses, particularly in a renewable product space, as you can tell, Jake's quite a detailed man about this and very, very structured. So he's an excellent person to get mentoring from. Just email him, and I'll just double check his email address here, which I should have lined up, my bad. It is Jake@Krete.club. That's JAKE at KRETE.club, CLUB. JAKE@KRETE.club. Thanks very much for listening to the podcast. As ever, hope you've enjoyed the show. The next episode where we interview Jake is about product development. And as you'd expect by now from Jake, if you've listened to this show, he's a man who's very rigorous and detailed about this and has an amazing process. So definitely worth learning from if you're creating any form of custom product. Meanwhile, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or anywhere else that's convenient for you. Thanks so much for listening to the 10K Collective podcast and the amazing FBA podcast family.